Just waiting for Rebecca to get in here. What's up, cousin? I see you. How you? What's happening? There go Rebecca. Go ahead and send a request, Rebecca, at the bottom of your screen. We go. We got her.
All right, here we
Hey,
are. Awesome. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? See, just like
Great.
being live and in person, right?
It really is. This is actually, I will admit, this is my first Instagram Live, and I just went and poured a nice glass of Chardonnay for
There you
it.
go. There you go.
Awesome. That's so, wow, okay, cool. Great. How are you doing, Aunt?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm doing good. Actually, I just had my glass of wine, had my glass of Moscato. So
Yum. Love Moscato.
yes,
Good,
yes.
good, good.
Yeah, we're just gonna give them a couple seconds to get the people on here.
No problem.
But you staying well. Everything's good.
Oh yeah, everything's good. We are staying healthy. I actually just got done riding my horse. I usually do that in the evenings in this weather because it's nice and
Okay.
it's not. I'm actually just gonna mute my phone so stuff doesn't come up. Here we go. All right. And it's like light out until 8:30, which is nice. So just got done doing that and things are good. How are you? How's the fam?
Everybody's good, man. We had dinner early, did the showers and baths, so everybody is tucked away and relaxing, so I can enjoy this wonderful first interview with you on Instagram Live,
Awesome.
bringing you to the Instagram community.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, no problem. But you said you was riding your horse. Everybody else is like, "Oh, I walk my dog." No, Rebecca was riding her horse.
I was, and I right before I came on here, I threw some footage of us riding tonight on
Okay,
my story. So go and check it out. He just turned 12.
okay,
His name is Cowboy.
okay,
Um, he actually was originally imported from the Netherlands when he was 3 years old. He has a passport, which is pretty insane. Yes, my horse has a passport. Um, and we ride in the English discipline of dressage, which is an Olympic sport. So horseback riding is in the Summer Olympic Games,
okay,
and there are three aspects of horseback riding in the Olympics. One is show jumping, one is cross country jumping, and then the third is dressage, which is what I do.
okay.
So, just a little, background on anyone that isn't familiar
So,
with
well,
that.
how'd you get into horses? Like, where'd that come from?
So, great question. When I was really young, about 5, 6 years old. So my dad, I love him, and he's one of my best friends now. But when we were younger, you know, he had substance abuse problems, and he loved to gamble and drink, and you know, unfortunately, did drugs and all of that. But he would take us to the Philadelphia racetrack, which before it was Parks Casino. This is like
Okay.
going back, right?
Okay.
So in Bensalem. And he would love to go and bet on the horses, and he would take us there. And you know, probably not the best environment for children, but whatever. Um, and we went, and I just became obsessed with horses. I'm like one of those crazy horse girls, and I just became so in love with them. And I begged him to get me riding lessons. And when I was 6 years old, I started riding.
Okay.
And we were really poor growing up, and he couldn't afford to get me lessons like I wanted. So when I was 9 years old, I started working at the barn that I rode at. I made $5 an hour cleaning horse stalls, so muck and poop, and you know, cleaning the tack, and teaching the real little kids, like on a lead line, whatever I could to work off my lessons. So that's how I got into it. And I rode all through high school, and I paid for it all myself from working like 3 jobs. And then I stopped riding when I went to college. And then I took about 17 years off. And then I started riding again when I was 31, when I started riding again. And so I've been riding now for three years as an adult. And so I saved up because I knew I wanted to buy my dream horse. And I started saving when I started riding again. And I just bought him in July of last year. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
So if I'm following, you took your real estate money, put it into your dream.
I did.
Of riding horses and owning your own horse.
Correct. Yes. I sold a few houses and put it aside, and to do what I love. You know, what's the point of working hard and hustling if you can't enjoy life and do what you want to do, right? So you want to live a life by design and not by default. And I wanted to design my perfect life, and it definitely, you don't get there overnight. For sure. It takes a long time. I mean, it took me 3 years almost to save up to buy him. So I did, and it's just the best. It's just awesome. That's what I love to do when I'm done working every day.
And that's my fault. We jumped.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, who is Rebecca and what is it that you do?
So, hey everyone who's following and watching today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening with your families to tune in tonight with Anthony and I. My name is Rebecca Rinkevich, or my friends call me Becky, whatever you'd like to call me. I was born and raised in Doylestown, PA, which is about an hour north of Philadelphia. I grew up with a really really loving family that was super supportive, but unfortunately we were lower class. We were on food stamps. I grew up in a trailer park, and we had government assistance, and we were 5 kids, and my stepmom and my dad in a double wide trailer. And Becky with the good hair, I get that all the time. And so that's where we grew up, and it was definitely tough, because even though I didn't grow up in the inner city and have that in the environment, I grew up in the suburbs in a super poor, really small pocket of a really affluent area, which sometimes is almost harder because those kids are just so ruthless, they're so mean and they make fun of you. And I was embarrassed to tell people where I lived. I would, if my friends' parents were dropping me off after like a sporting event, I would tell them I lived at a different location and walk home because I would get made fun of about where I lived. And it was hard. We were the kids, like in the school I went to, There was, at the holidays, they had a Christmas tree in the lobby, and, all the rich families they would take angel tags. Like there's a tag that would be hanging from the tree, and it would say like, girl age 7 loves horses. And then the rich family would take the tag off and then buy a bunch of horse stuff, wrap it up. And then my parents would go to the school and pick up the presents and then put it under our tree at Christmas time. And we knew it wasn't from Santa. So that was my upbringing. And,
Humble
back,
beginnings. Nothing wrong with that.
yeah. So but it was great. I wouldn't change it for the world because it made me the person that I am. And I saw what my family, were struggling with. I saw they lived paycheck to paycheck. They had substance abuse problems. They were always arguing because they couldn't pay the bills. And I knew that was the example of what I knew I didn't want. So it really, really inspired me to not live that life when I was growing up. I vowed to myself that I was going to make something more. So I didn't have any wealthy relatives or any handouts, nothing like that. I went to my school guidance counselor. I told him I wanted to go to college because I thought, I'm like, oh, if I go to college, at least it's a way out of here.
A break from home.
Yep. So that's what I did. I ended up applying. I didn't even know where I could apply for grants or scholarships. So I did. I ended up getting a bunch of grants and scholarships. I went to college up in Boston. I graduated with a marketing degree from Bentley University.
Okay.
And then right out of college, I got a district manager position with Aldi Food Stores. Okay. So I helped
Aldi supermarket.
It's a great supermarket. Yep. I ended up helping Aldi expand up in New England. So I moved to Connecticut and helped them expand up there. And then I did that for about 4 years, and I was just super burnt out. I was a slave to corporate America. I was working 80 hours a week. They motivated you by fear. They were like, if you're not going to hustle and work, from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday, you're going to be fired. And there's another 22-year-old kid that's waiting for your job. So it was definitely hard. I was married to a guy that I met in college. And we decided about 4 years after working for Aldi, he got a job promotion in Connecticut, from Connecticut to Ohio. So I ended up moving to Ohio. I was married and I quit my job at Aldi, moved to Columbus, Ohio. And I'm like, you know what? I hate my job. I want to do something that I'm really, really passionate about. What is that? And one of them is wine. I love wine, but you can't really make good money drinking wine. I mean, I'm probably sure I could figure that out now, how to make good money drinking wine. But at the time, I'm 28 and I'm like, how can I do this, right? So I was really passionate about real estate. I grew up in a trailer. My house was on wheels. I got made fun of about, how it could move anywhere. And I always asked my parents, why can't we just have a house, And of course, at the time, I didn't know any better and why we couldn't have that. But I wanted to make people know that it's possible. It is totally achievable to own real estate and own your own house. I bought my first house when I was 23.
Okay.
Through my job at Aldi. I took out an FHA loan. I put 3.5% down. It was in the middle of the recession. It was in 2009. So I ended up getting
sick of it. Right.
Oh yeah. And it was when Obama was.
You got one.
What was that?
You got one of those no doc loans they were talking about?
Yeah, pretty much. You're like, oh, you have a pulse and a social security number? Okay, cool. Yeah, here's where you sign. Here's your keys. Yeah, and but it was when Obama was in office, and he had a great tax credit program where any first-time home buyers got $8,000 back when they filed their taxes the year that they bought a house. So I was able to capitalize on that. So it was a great experience. So I decided to get my real estate license. I was living in Columbus, Ohio. I knew nothing about real estate other than my experience buying my own house. I knew no one in the area. I didn't know the school districts. I didn't know the neighborhoods. I didn't know what was safe, not safe, good, not good. But you know what? I decided to go for it because I learned in life, you know, if I put my mind to something and I
Right.
hustled and I worked towards it, I know I could achieve it. So I did. And in my first year, I ended up joining Keller Williams when I got licensed.
In Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah,
Okay.
I joined KW. I actually joined a team. It was actually the biggest team in that brokerage at the time. I think they are still actually the biggest team in the brokerage. I was one of like 8 agents on the team. And I sold about just under $4 million of real estate my first year, 24 units my first year. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I got hooked. I'm like, I love this. I love
Those
helping
commission
people.
checks, right?
Oh, those commission checks, they were pretty sweet. I'm like, this is one check? What? I was split, you know, I was on a team. So I was giving my team 60% of my check and giving KW a split. So my you know, my at the end of the day, it really wasn't even that big, but it was still bigger than what I was making, right? So I got hooked.
And you weren't working sun up to sundown at least anymore.
Correct. Exactly. I was not. And I loved what I did. So I had more of a work-life balance. I made my own schedule. I did have to work a lot of nights and weekends, which I'm sure you know, doing open houses. You know, you show houses when your clients are not working, which is a lot of nights and weekends. But that's okay because you have the rest of the day to do what you want to do. So
ride horses,
yep.
Drink wine.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did that. I created a great client base out in Ohio. And then I got divorced because I had a lying, cheating ex-husband that I just was like, I'm done. I am not putting up with you anymore. Like, he had multiple affairs. I'm gonna put his shit on blast right now. He doesn't follow me, and I actually haven't talked to him in like 4 years. But
well,
that was
his
him.
loss. It's okay.
It's his loss. Oh yeah, he's definitely, you know, regretting it. I know it. But so I finally left his ass and I moved back home to Doylestown.
Okay.
And I had to start over. I started over. It was definitely tough. Like, of course, I'm 29 years old and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm divorced. Like, all my friends are getting married. They're all having kids. Like, it was tough. You know, it was a mental thing. I was like really depressed and I had to get licensed in Pennsylvania. I had to recreate my entire sphere of influence. Like, yeah, but I did. So I reinvented everything. I got licensed. And then I moved to KW in Doylestown.
Okay.
And I started over. So shortly after that, I ended up meeting my now boyfriend. We've been together for 5 years. We own gyms together. We could talk about that later. But I just, you know, I knew what worked. I knew what I did in Ohio, and I just implemented here. And I went from selling 4 million in Ohio to last year I sold about just under 13 million in volume. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So 13 million, 67 units.
Single team, but it's just you on your team now, right? No.
Yeah, just me. I did have a part-time buyer's agent that worked for me at the time. She probably contributed to about 2 million, I guess. So it was like I did about 11 million on my own. And I had an admin too. So I have an admin. But it was a lot. I mean, my average sale price is low. That's a goal of mine, is to get it up, because I did 67 units. So it's like 200,000, I guess, is my average sale price.
But that's not, so one, I'm saying that's not bad, because some people might do less, but they're in a higher price point. But the fact that you still was able to create that kind of volume, even in the smaller marketplace, and like you said, just coming back to Philly, just being here a few years, is still phenomenal.
Yeah. It's, of course,
it's just you.
And it's just me. Yeah.
Buyer's agent and an admin.
Yes, correct. So now
triangle offense going.
Yeah. So
can I ask a question? So
of course, please.
In regards to you being an agent and building up that momentum to getting it to where it is now. So like you said, from the point when you first came back to now, is there anything you can say that like made a big difference in your growth from the realtor side?
Yeah, so I would say people ask me this all the time, and the single most thing that was the biggest contributor to my success, open houses. Telling you, because I didn't know anyone, so I didn't have anyone to feed me leads. I didn't have a sphere of. I mean, I have my family here, but all of them already owned houses. The ones, like, and they probably really didn't want to refer me when I first, because they're like, "Is she good? We don't know if we can, like, whatever, So I wasn't even like hitting up my family for referrals.
Right.
So what I did was I went to my office. I found the top producing agents in my office, and I stalked their listings on the MLS. So I found all their listings that were active. I tried to find the newer listings on the market. So,
Came to market on Wednesday. You were at the open house by Saturday,
yes.
Sunday.
And I found like that first time home buyers like price point. So like
Okay.
in Doylestown, 250 to like 400 is like a first time home buyer price point. So I didn't want to do anything more than that because those buyers probably already had a relationship with an agent.
Right.
So I hustled. I door knocked the neighborhood before the open house the day before. I introduced myself. I invited all the neighbors. I blasted it all over social media. I have like 10 directional signs that I strategically placed everywhere.
Every corner, every street.
Yes. Balloons, everything. Every single person that came in, I actually do a really fun thing, depending on the price point, but I'll go to the liquor store and I'll buy bottles of wine that are like $10 or less, but are rated high. So like good bottles, I'll spend like $100. I'll get like between 10 and 13 bottles of wine. And I will, I'll put ribbon on it, make them pretty. Right. And I'll have them lined up on like the island in the kitchen. And anyone that comes in, I will say, hey, do you like wine? Everyone's like, yeah, we like wine. All right, cool. Well, if you want a free bottle of wine, I want you to go into my Facebook page, like my Facebook page, and share.
Right there on the spot?
Yeah, right there on the spot. I made them do it in front of me. And then go into Instagram, like my stuff, and then share my posting on my open house. And they're like, that's all we need to do? Yep. So basically I spent $8. I got this person who is, if they're coming to my open house, more than likely they have friends and family that are in that same demographic, in that area, maybe know someone that's looking. And then they share it and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And then I'll usually like do a selfie with them. Like, oh, okay, cool. We got, a free bottle of wine coming to this lady's open house, and no one's doing it. I don't know of any other agents that are doing that. It's a cheap way to get exposure, and you can write it off. Like, that's the other great thing. Like, that's a whole nother convo is like accounting and how to write things off to maximize your income, to not have to pay Uncle Sam as much. But that's what I did. And then every single person that came into the open house, I was super attentive. I asked a lot of questions. I made sure that I captured all of their info. If I was slow and I didn't have anyone, I would use that time to handwrite notes. So I would handwrite notes to people that came into my open house. Either if I did a Saturday open house, I would catch up on those notes. I would handwrite, thank you so much for coming by. It was such a pleasure meeting you. I would love the opportunity to discuss buying and selling further. I would put my card in there and I would send it. People do not send handwritten notes anymore. It is a lost art. And like, think about how great you feel when you get a handwritten note, right? Like, this is so nice. Like, and you just don't get that anymore. It's cool when you get mail, right? So that's what I would do. And then every single person that came in, I made sure I sent them handwritten notes, and I followed up. That is such a key. There are so many real estate agents that just don't follow up. And like, if you need a CRM, or if you need to put something in your phone or whatever it is, or I'm a visual person, I have notes and notepads and checklists, everyone very type A. I make sure that's the first thing I do every morning. I grab my coffee, I sit in my office, and I follow up. I send emails, text messages, make phone calls, and then like it's my lead gen time, and then I get into the thick of it.
So that's first thing in the morning, you said, and then I guess were you delegating any of these tasks to your admin?
So at that time, I didn't even have an admin. I
Okay.
didn't hire an admin until the end of 2017.
Okay.
So from the middle of 2014, when I moved back, until the end of 2017, it was just me. I did it all, and
From Marshall.
yeah, yeah. So, so yes, that would be something I would delegate to my admin, and he would write it out, and then I would sign it still. But yeah, that would be something to definitely delegate, because you want to make sure that you're doing revenue generating activities when you're doing a lot of volume and a lot of business.
Right.
But that's really what contributed to my success. And it's crazy because for like 6 months, I didn't see any results. I'm not even going to be like, I'm not going to like lie or be like whatever. I didn't see any results. Yep, see, someone just said I passed up because of not following up with me, bought a house months later. Yep. So, but you know what? I knew to trust the process, and I went to the office every day. I just did the same exact thing. I did open houses every single weekend, sometimes 2 open houses a week, followed up, handwritten notes, door knocking the neighborhoods. I was out there. I would door knock twice a week from 9 to 12. I had my little clipboard. I would write down the addresses of the people that answered the door. I would follow them up with a handwritten note. I did it. And it was really frustrating for a while because I didn't see any results. But it was like one day a light switch flipped. It was like, I would say it's probably about 6 months into it, and I got a phone call. And it was like, oh, I met you at an open house like 3 months ago. I don't know if you remember me, but me and my wife finally decided to like seriously get started in a buying. Could you help us? I'm like,
Right.
oh my God, yes, yeah. Like got all excited. Same thing with the seller. Hey, you actually came through my neighborhood and offered a free market analysis. Like, I saw my neighbor just listed their house. Like, we would like to list, and we had your card saved. And could you come over? Yeah, I can. So it was like, you just have to like trust the process. Don't give up. Like, motion equals emotion. It'll breed activity, and you'll eventually see it pay off. So that's really what like ramped up my business.
And I think the cool thing that you said, or I don't know if everybody caught that, was that even with the people you were following up with, they were also like passing your information to other people. So sometimes it's not always the people you directly come in contact with, but it's just they might be like you said, now they're your marketing piece. Whether
Yes.
it's through them adding you on Facebook, or whether they just tell somebody else, like direct face to face, it's all free advertisement just from you making that initial contact.
Exactly. Yep. 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 Stay the course. I'm telling you, proof is in the pudding. Stay the course, and it's definitely worth it for sure. So yeah, that's really how I got started, and then I eventually added in paid Zillow leads. So once I started making some sales, I decided to add that to my repertoire. Actually, a lender was the one that gave me the chance, and he's like, okay, I think I was telling you about this.
Right.
Yeah, it was Bill from Proof Mortgage Group.
Yep.
So, yep. So he believed in me because he saw my hustle, and I think they were giving me like $100 a month or something like that. And it was a lot of money to me at the time. Like, I'm like, oh my God, it's still $100 is still a lot of money. Let's be real. But compared to my budget then to what it is now, like, so I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. This is so great. And, so I had $100 from my lender. I also had my own money. And I bought a Zillow. I bought Zillow leads, and then I would religiously follow up on them. I started converting them, and then I continued to up my budget with Zillow. Continue doing my open houses, and then it just kind of spiraled from there.
So, at what point did you transfer or transform from agent to investor? Because you also flip houses as well.
I do, yeah. So, in the fall of 2015, so it was about a year and a half after I moved to PA, I got a client who was him and his best friends from high school were house flippers, and they were trying to find an agent to be their agent to sell their flips. And they interviewed a bunch of people. They ended up hiring me. And I never worked with flippers before. And I was actually like actually, I apologize. I worked with a few in Ohio, but not like in this capacity. Like, you know, they had like 3 projects going at once, and it was just a lot bigger of a commitment.
They were moving it with like a system.
Yes,
they
exactly.
probably had high expectations.
Yeah, they did.
You better
right.
get sold.
Yeah, so I didn't want to let them down. And so I'm like, I promise you, like, I'm your girl. I'm going to outwork. One of my favorite quotes, I think I've shared this with you, talent always, or hard work always beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Right.
And that's what I promised them I was going to do. And I did. So I got to kind of be right there with them while they were, you know, flipping, they were buying the properties, what they were looking for. I helped them with design. I told them what to do with the colors, like what was selling, because I was working with a lot of buyers. So I really, and I learned from them, like what not to do, what to do. So just from being on the sidelines.
Right.
So that's when I first got the bug to flip, because I would see how much money they would make. I'm like, oh my God, you know, it would take me 3 months, 4 months selling real estate to make what this person's making in one transaction.
Okay.
So I finally, you know, everyone always says, like, you're never fully ready. And I don't have kids, I know you do, but like, even when you became a dad, I'm sure like you're never fully ready, right? Like you just gotta go with it.
Right.
So that's what I did. And I you know, I'm like, I can prepare and keep preparing, but really you're only ever gonna learn when you dive in and you just get into it, right? You're never gonna be 100% ready. So it was actually an accident how I found my first flip. I was called on a listing appointment. It was a referral. And I went on the listing appointment, and it was in Bucks County in Penridge School District in Sellersville, PA. It was a rancher, and it was never one owner from 1963, never updated, mold everywhere, bad septic system.
We call like, you know, it was recently lived in, but it's basically outdated. That's grandmom's house right there.
Yes, it was grandmom's. It was an estate, so the lady died.
See?
The kids who were in their 50s inherited it. They wanted nothing to do with the house because they already had their own house.
Okay.
And they were like, we just need to sell this. And I'm like, I can't sell this like this in this condition. Like, no, it's not going to pass FHA underwriting. And this is a first-time home buyer house. A conventional buyer is probably not going to buy this, and it would probably have a hard time passing conventionally. So you're looking at either a 203K renovation loan, which is a rehab loan for anyone that isn't familiar with that, or you're looking at an investor that's going to lowball you. And they were like, we need cash now. Like the one heir was like, you know, I don't have a car. Like I need money. And I'm like we need to sell this like next week. I'm like, oh my God. And so I told them I would probably be able to sell it for like 130. And I'm like, but you know, I'm going to put it on the market. I don't know like what the market's going to tell us. Like it. And so I'm like, I thought to myself, maybe I'll just buy it. So I ended up throwing this lowball offer at her of $85,000. She took it. I literally was like, what? So moral of the story, you never will be able to get for something that you don't ask for. Right. So like the worst they can say is no. So I ended up buying it from her for $85,000. I actually didn't even have, and I paid cash for it. I was saving up because I knew I wanted to get into flipping. So I had saved up for like 2 years to buy my house. And I didn't plan on buying my first house in cash. It just ended up happening that way. But I didn't have $85,000 when I bought it. So I ended up working out a deal with her. I'm like, hey, I'll give you half now. So creative financing. There's just so many ways to do real estate that people are just so close-minded with that really you can figure out anything is negotiable and you can figure anything out. So I ended up giving her half the money at settlement, and then had a separate agreement and said, hey, I'm going to pay you the rest over the course of 60 days because I had a bunch of big closings coming up and I literally just took my commission checks and paid it to her.
Okay.
So, and I let her live there for free because she had, it was some personal stuff.
Until you cashed her out?
Correct. So I let her live there.
For everybody.
It was a win-win for everyone.
For everybody.
Yep. So I ended up doing that. It was my first flip. It took me a year and a day from acquisition to the end result when I sold it to the end buyer.
Can we ask what you sold it for?
I sold it for $332,000.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
Woo.
Yep.
And where was this? And what part of this?
This is in Bucks County, in Sellersville, PA.
Nice. And this was your first one.
My first one. Yeah.
And was your dad part of the rehab crew during this time?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, no, so I involved my dad because my dad, he's been sober now since 2012. And he's just wonderful. And he didn't, unfortunately, save for retirement, and he's 70 years old. And I wanted to make sure that he was going to be set up for success. So I brought him in on this, and he helped contribute to the acquisition. He gave not quite half, but about 30% of everything. And then we ended up splitting the profit.
But that's not bad. He did the sweating part, the sweat equity. You bought the deal, and you were still able to still sell houses, and y'all still kept it in the family. Exactly.
And I ended up representing the buyer too. It was my client who ended up buying it. So
and you got commission money too.
I did. Yep. So I got both sides of the commission. I ended up flipping it. Oh, that was nice. And so it was a win-win for everyone involved. I still keep in touch with those buyers today. They're just so happy with the product. And it was a great experience. I made a net profit, and I made a lot of mistakes on that one. Like my HVAC guy ended up stealing my entire system and cash. So took all the money and all the equipment. That was like 12 grand out the door. There was a lot of stuff I did wrong.
It was my first one. You got your war scars off that one.
I did.
Not my first one, my second one. My contractor's equipment got stolen, and then they ran off with money as well. I had to pay for all the stuff that they didn't do. So I'm with you. I got a few war stories. I'm in the middle of a war now with the house that I'm rehabbing now. We're finally at the finish line, and now everybody wants to act like they don't understand what we're doing and what's supposed to be done. Like literally, we could be done this house in 2 weeks if everybody cooperated. Right.
Exactly. It's like, come on, and you know what? The crazy thing is, I'm like, I have so much work for you guys. Like, just be honest and work hard. Like, you can make $100,000 probably off of just me in the next 2 years. Like, what are you doing? It blows my mind how these contractors are just like, they look for the quick penny and then they burn bridges. It's insane. So you know all about that. But when all is said and done, I ended up making a net profit after everything was paid, $117,000 off my first one.
I know your husband's kicking him. Your ex-husband. I know he's kicking himself now.
He is. I know he is. I know.
And so now, do you still actively do flips?
Yeah. So I am currently on my fourth flip. Okay. And it is in Cheltenham, so a little bit close to the city. I personally live in Elkins Park, so I live just outside of Philadelphia.
So you're working in your own backyard, which is
5 minutes from my house.
That's also my strategy. So all my properties as a landlord or my flips, I literally if I wake up, I can run and pretty much see all my tenants.
That's great.
Or the properties while they're working.
Yep, that's great. So so that's what we're doing now. It's a real awesome modern contemporary. I brought my boyfriend in on this one because he's a master. He's not a licensed GC, but he's really good at GCing projects because he built both of his gyms out by watching.
Which is dope. Right.
Yeah. Well, he's actually not really handy. I can't even get him to mow the lawn. I have to hire someone, but he's good at he's just good at managing people.
Put all the pieces together.
Yeah. He's good at that. So he's actually GCing this project for me so I can focus on my real estate business.
Him and Dad or just or just him?
So dad is not involved in this one. So dad's like, you know, he wants to stay in his little bubble up in Bucks County.
Okay, okay.
And, you know, he didn't want to come down here. So if anytime I do something up there, I get dad involved and
But in the
I make
city,
sure
you can
that he's
rely on your boyfriend.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So and also and then you guys also own gyms together.
We do. Yeah. So, Tony, started Fusion Gyms.
Okay.
We have two locations. They're both in the Northeast in Philadelphia. One is at 2801 Grant Avenue, right off the boulevard. And then the other one is right at Rising Sun and North Street at 505 North Street.
Okay.
And you guys should definitely, unfortunately, they're closed right now for quarantine.
Right. When things open back up, though.
When things open back up, yeah, it's he has a fabulous business model. He basically takes all of the high-end luxury finishes and amenities that like your Lifetime Fitness, your Equiox, is that what it is? Equinox.
Okay.
Like all those high-end gyms, but puts it into like a Planet Fitness price point. So it's like, and then he also has supplements and ready to drink shakes and oh, that's cool. So someone lives near the Grand Ave location. Yeah, so
that's she actually used to be at HomeSmart. Now she's over with me and Bill and Guillermo.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Hey, Temperance. So actually, Bill Kraft is in my living room right now hanging out with Tony downstairs. I'll let him know we said hi. They've become really good friends. So he comes over every Thursday and they mastermind and have fun together. So
nice.
Yeah.
Tell him I'll bring the whiskey. I'm coming up after quarantine.
All right. Yeah, please come next time. So he it's $20 a month, $1 to join. And feel free to scroll my Instagram or Tony's handle is relentless _4_fusion. And you can see all the inside of the gym. Oh, thanks, girl. Thanks, Temperance. So you can see, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's everything's high end. He has custom made equipment from China. He actually went to China before COVID, had all of his equipment manufactured from the same exact plants that make Cybex, Lifetime, Matrix, the same exact company.
To the Connect.
He went straight there. He is a hustler to the core. Like, you think I hustle? Like, oh my God, he's like a whole nother level. So he went straight there and he negotiated directly with these Asian guys that don't even speak English. Like, he had a translator, like, insane.
He got to it.
Yeah, and he literally gets this equipment that people pay $3,000, $4,000 for a treadmill, and he gets them for like $450. Okay. And it's the same exact equipment. So
I'm with Tim. Tim just said two hustlers. I'm like, look, you guys both got ambition. You guys both are very excited about your goals, and you guys are pushing it to get to one general goal, one common goal.
Hey, you know what? That's the only way to do it. You know, like it's a given. Relationships, no one's ever going to be, it's never 50-50, right? There's always someone that's pulling a little harder than the other one. But then when they're not able to do it, the other one picks up the slack. And like in marriages and business relationships. And so that's what we, that's what we build our foundation on. So he's doing that. And then he also got into flips with me, but the gym, oh my God, the energy at that gym, it's amazing. It's great. So please, anyone, when you go in there, when we finally open up, please let them know that you know Becky and Tony. And we'll give you the family discount because and you'll just love the vibe, the atmosphere. We play awesome hip hop music, rap music, rock, hard rock.
Yeah,
it's like you're actually hearing like 50 Cent in the background, like and like actually getting it, you know.
Right.
So
it doesn't sound like the Old Navy. It sounds like working out and getting your own AirPods.
Yeah,
that's nice.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So what else, or I guess where are you going now? Because I mean, it sounds like you're pretty successful. You said 2014, so that's like a 6-year run, and you know, you keep climbing. So like, I would ask one, how do you keep elevating and climbing, and then two, like, so what's the overall end goal? What would you say?
So funny that you ask. I just actually left HomeSmart, which is the brokerage I've been at for 2.5 years. It was a great stepping stone in my career because you know, we got 100% of our paycheck, and it just allowed me to be free in running a little team inside of a brokerage. But I just went to Keller Williams Philly.
Congratulations. Look.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The main reason I went to this brokerage is because one of my best friends, her name is Rafaelina Merlino, and I are actually, this is on the deal. So actually, this is probably the first anyone's hearing about this.
The exclusive.
This is exclusive. No one knows. We're doing a big launch in the middle of June, but we are joining forces and we're creating a mega team together.
Nice.
So
Mike McCann and them will run for their money.
We are actually. I was on a call with Mike McCann and we were chatting, and I'm like, Mike, no offense, but there are no females in this space. There are no, like, Mike does 230 million in closed volume. Noah Ostroff does 210 million in closed volume. David Snyder does 180 million in closed volume. There are no female dominated teams in that space of the top producers in the city. And there's a need for it because, I mean, yeah, men are great. We all love men, okay? But there is just something about females, you know, we're emotional. We can really help guide, you know, like emotions and transactions. We can just really hone in and listen to the needs of the clients. And there's just something different, you know. That's why it's always great to have, you know, you have a loving wife, and you know that the thing that females give to relationships, right? So there is a need for it, and it's no one serving that.
You guys have that special touch.
Yes, exactly. So no one's in that space. So I'm like, you know what? Let's get after it. Let's be the number one, not only female, but number one team in Philadelphia. And that's our goal. So we actually just created our team name. I'm going to keep that on the DL.
Okay,
we're going to announce that. It's
super.
Yeah, wait for the launch. And we just hired our first full-time admin. She's incredible. And she starts on June 1st. And we're doing all of the back-end logistics right now. So it's actually a perfect time being in this quarantine COVID situation here where we can't really even sell. Right. Yeah, so we're getting all that worked out. You know, the LLC created, bank accounts opened, all of that. We're getting that taken care of. But it's really exciting, and I cannot wait to get everything started. So yeah. That's the plan.
Nice. Which is definitely dope. And I mean, for me, I want to ask, so how is it that you form these relationships and roles? Like, what are the things that help you say, like, hey, I can work with that person, or like this person will be a good fit for, you know, what we're trying to do?
So that's a great question. So I think that I've had people working for me on my team that they're great people. They just don't work out because for whatever reason. And I've learned over the years, their values and their work ethic really have to be aligned with yours. So, you know, if they're, you know, at the club 3 nights a week and they're not waking up until 11:30 and they don't want to, you know, like, and if that's the lifestyle that you want, that's great. Cause you know, you want to live the life that you want, you know, your life by design. If that's the life that you want and you're paying your bills and you're happy, awesome. But that's unfortunately not, you know, for them, not my
work for your team. Right.
Yeah, right. So finding, you know, and I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God, and I really think everything happens for a reason. So I make sure that people have my same spiritual beliefs. They have a good work ethic. They have hustle. They have grit. That's really important. And they can't be pretentious. Like, you know, even though I'm selling Ritz-Carlton condos and I'm doing luxury real estate, like I'm the girl from the trailer park who grew up on food stamps with nothing. Like
first and foremost, right?
Yes, first and foremost. Like it's so crazy because when I was younger, I like was so embarrassed to tell people that. Now it's like I love telling people that because I want to let others know that it is so possible to be successful in this great country of the United States of America, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. It doesn't matter your upbringing. It doesn't matter who your parents are, where you grew up, what school you went to. If you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything that you want. And I love telling people that because I want to inspire others. Like if they're, in the inner city and, they're, on food stamps and they don't see a way out, like you can totally do it. So anyone ever wants, advice or to talk to me or help, please. I love talking to people. Please send me a message. But yeah, you cannot be, a stuck up bitch, because that's not going to work with me either. Hopefully I'm allowed to curse on this. I've had a glass of wine.
We go for it. It's okay. We go for it.
All right, good.
Our guest from 2 weeks ago, Alex, had everybody on here going crazy.
Okay, all right, good.
So don't worry, we're good.
Good. So I don't know if that answered the question.
So you did answer the question. We got like 8 minutes before they shut us off the live.
Oh, okay.
Or 10 minutes actually, so we're good.
10 minutes.
So before we do get cut off or people jump off, where can people find you? So we know you're going to be working at Keller Williams Philly now. Keller Williams Philly,
yep. And you guys can always DM me, sold by Rebecca _ you can always call me. I can tell my phone number if you want to write it down, or it's 215-313-1930. You can always email me. It's Rebecca at Rebecca Lee Group, which is LEIGH, Rebecca Lee Group. That's contact info is going to change once we figure out everything with the new team, but everything will get forwarded, so you don't have to worry about that. But probably the best way, everyone on Instagram, you guys can send me a DM, because I'm always on Instagram. I'm always replying to people. So that would probably be the best way to contact me.
Nice. And then, do you have any book recommendations? What books do you recommend, or what are you like? Give us like your 3 favorite books.
Okay, so the book that I just finished reading, I've read it a few times now. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Actually, I thought I had it in my office. It's actually probably on my bedstand. Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a fabulous book. You guys, it'll blow you away. It'll talk about how little tiny minuscule changes in your life add up to huge results over the course of time. So like, reading at night, read 10 pages of every night of a book, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, whatever. That's how I wind down every night when I go to bed. I read 10 pages. I make sure I do that. That has helped me read 3 books a month. And then the knowledge I've gained from that is just incredible. Oh, awesome. Someone's read Atomic Habits. Yeah, great. So I have someone vouching for me on this.
Yeah, you got to give him a shot. Shad's a mortgage broker.
Awesome. Yeah, please send me. I love connecting. So please send me a message. Atomic Habits.
2 more.
It's great. Yep.
I'm writing them down.
Okay, good. Another book. This is like a classic. I've read this a million times. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
That one.
Okay. That's a really, really good one. I love that one. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, actually, this one, where did it go? I just had it here. It's if anyone's trying to get into the luxury real estate market, this real estate chat, it's called Selling Luxury Homes. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. This one. Selling Luxury Homes by Jack Cotton. Great book. So it talks about specifically how to break into the luxury market. Tailoring your habits to even if you've never sold a luxury home before, teaches you how to do it. And I've done it. So it's incredible. He's the #1 real estate agent in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. And he went from nothing to owning the entire Cape. Nice. So that's a cool book. Podcast. I was actually just asked this the other day. This is actually it's all about business, but it's really has a fitness background. Andy Frisella. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Andy.
I know.
Okay.
I
So
saw
Andy,
Andy at Grant Cardone's 10X conference a couple years
yep,
ago.
perfect. So Andy Frisella, he owns First Form, which is a supplement company out of St. Louis, Missouri. My boyfriend Tony is actually good friends with Andy, and he has a podcast called Real as Fuck or Real AF.
Right.
It's so dope. It talks all about habits, fitness, business, mindset, and he just gets you amped up. And it's an awesome, awesome podcast. So that's a great one. I love that one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Title of the second book. It was called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've listened to it on Audible. I'm a huge Audible fan. I have audiobooks playing in my car. I never listen to music anymore, only when I'm working out. Like sometimes, actually, not even all the time. I'm always reading. And so Audible, it's a great book to read on Audible. Also a good book to read in hard copy, but it was written back in I think in the early 1900s. So the vernacular is a little it's a little bit tough to listen to or read. So it takes a little while, but it's a really, really great book.
So a lot of my books, I get them used from Alibris.com. So like I'm gonna look these up when we get off of here, and so like the book's
Cool.
$20, $25 at Barnes and Noble. I'm getting it for half off at Alibris.com.
Amazing.
And then
Amazing.
I've been doing Audible books. I'm doing How to Raise Private Capital right now on from Audible.com. I'm doing that.
Oh yeah. Good. Yep. Other people's money. So now we didn't even get to get into this. So now I actually don't even use my own money to flip. After showing a great track record of the flips I've been doing, I have a family friend who is independently wealthy, and I use hard money to buy flips, and she funds my purchases with my hard money. So I have a hard money lender. I put 10% down. I paid 2.5 points, actually 2.25 points with 10% interest rate. And I tell her what my cash is needed to close and my reserves. She wires the money into my account. And then depending on the profit margin, I give her anywhere between 10 and 15% on the net profit. So I don't even use my own money.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, so once you show, it's crazy because once you're successful and you don't really need money, people are throwing it at you. But I'm okay, because then I can take my money and do other things with it. Buy my horse, buy an income property, which is I'm going to buy my first income property this year. It's on my vision board. So
There you go.
I know you're in that game. I need to get there. I need to catch up.
Well, you'll get there fast for sure. Definitely the way you're networking and moving, because the same way that you said you found that first deal. Most of my personal properties, I found them the same way. Like, oh, I go listen to what you called me for, but you said you just want to sell it right now. Look, I give you 20,000 for it. I give you
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
cool.
And then also, see, they said we got 2 minutes, because now I want to jump into that private money part. But what we'll do is
we can do a follow up in like a few weeks if you want. That's cool, or whatever you want.
Well, if you got the time, what we can do, if you don't mind, we can log off and log back in.
We can do that.
We can get it for like an extra 10, 15 minutes if you're cool with it.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, I'm going to log off. You log off.
All right, and I'll come back in.
We're coming right back, people.
We're coming right back, everyone.